Some of our biggest recruiting months are ahead of us here through this summer. I think we're more than 90% right now. Actually, the good, problem is, we may have to look at how many of these folks that we can accept. So it's a great problem.
Under President Trump and Secretary of Defense Hegseth's leadership, we hit our 12-month retention goal 6 months into the year because that's how strong their leadership has been so far.
Army recruiting numbers are strong so far in 2025. This as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is ordering a comprehensive transformation of the Army. It's aimed at countering China and accelerating the Pentagon's new Golden Dome strategy. For more, let's bring in the author of The New Rules of War and former U.S. Army officer Sean McFate. Sean, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So this idea that the Secretary is implementing when it comes to the Army, they're trying to get lighter, they're trying to get faster, they're trying to implement more drones, fewer helicopters. Good decision?
I think it's a necessary decision. This is a come too late decision. The Department of Defense has been growing and growing, so now our DoD budget is larger than the next 9 biggest countries' militaries in the world combined, China, Russia. And we have a lot of legacy systems, really, that were designed for the Soviet Union, still in our arsenal. And I think the Army is finally trying to peel them away. And they're taking the lessons learned from Ukraine, that cheap, adaptive technology like off-the-shelf drones can defeat super expensive, exquisite technology, whether they be Apache helicopters or tanks.
I mean, it's incredible. You look at the emergence of drone warfare, the U.S. really putting it on the field in the global war on terror, and now the Ukrainians doing some really fascinating innovation with it, right?
That's right. I mean, Ukrainians have shown us that with some cleverness and courage and cunning, you can take something from, off Amazon, use an Xbox controller or an iPad and make your own sort of swarm that can suicide destroy a very, very expensive helicopter, airplane, tank. And also, I would like to say that, game designers had a role in this, by the way.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Like the Call of Duty type thing?
Exactly, exactly. And so I think the Army is recognizing this and trying to not necessarily get game designers, although that would be pretty cool. But the point is that they're trying to update to a 21st century Army.
Now, the Secretary is pushing this. There's the procurement system, right, in the Defense Department. Turning that battleship is not quick.
It's multiple battleships fused together. The federal acquisition regulation in general is like multiple phone books, for those who remember phone books thick. I don't know what it would take besides a Harry Potter wand to fix that. But I think that Secretary of Defense Hegseth and others in the Trump administration are trying to address this problem. We spend way too much time, and we get products that at the end that we don't need or we don't want, such as the M10 Booker tank. So I used to be a paratrooper, and this thing was designed years ago to be thrown out of an airplane and parachute down to the ground to use in modern battle. And what they finally got, the Army finally got, was something that was too heavy to do that. And it was too light to compete with the M1 tank. And oh, by the way, are tanks even relevant in modern warfare?
The administration is talking about Iron Dome. That's the system that protects Israel. And then implementing the Golden Dome here to protect the United States. Is that, the U.S. is a heck of a lot bigger than Israel.
Yeah.
Is it feasible?
I don't think so, but here's what I'll tell you. So some of your viewers will remember Reagan's Star Wars program, the SDI program. It's going to be like that, modeled on Israel's Golden Dome, as you said, but Israel's the size of New Jersey. And it had the U.S. Navy at its back during the Iran launches, who were shooting down a lot of those missiles on in the Mediterranean. Try that with North America. And can we cover all of North America? Will it be gapless? Will there be big seams? And I just think this is going to be a multi-decade, multi-trillion-dollar project. And based on the defense industry's past performance, looking at things like the F-35 fighter jet, which cost $2 trillion, I don't know.
Army recruitment is up.
Yes.
The Army is touting that. What do you think has worked, and what do you think will work? What made you raise your hand and say, I want to do this, I want to serve my country?
Well, I raised my hand during the Cold War, so it was very plausible or palpable threat of the Soviet Union, even at the very end. I think the difference is this, is that younger folks don't want to join a losing army. And the post 9/11 wars, for whatever reason we can debate, were not winning moments for the United States of America. And I think an additional to that, though, is that why we're seeing a surge now is because I think that I would give credit to President Trump and Secretary of Defense Hegseth for removing woke from the Army. I think a lot of stalwart places we get troops from, like the Heartland and the South, they were turned off by the DEI and the woke, and those sort of streams of recruits dried up, and I think now that's been reversed. So I give credit to the leadership.
All right, Sean McFate, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.